Assalamu alaikum. In today's lesson, we are going to learn the letters Faa and Qaaf. Now, at the beginning of a word, those two letters would look something like this. You go upwards with a small decorative move that looks like the waw. If you remember the lesson, Ra, Waw, Dal, Zain. This when it comes at the beginning with something connected to it. Now, when it comes in the middle, it has this shape, or another shape we are going to talk about that would look something like this. Either one of those two shapes. When it comes by itself, the fa looks more like a ba, or at an end of a word. Meanwhile, qaaf, it looks different. It starts from the baseline. It goes with the same shape we talked about here, and it goes down as a waw, with the only difference that the end of the letter reaches out to this point. Meanwhile, the waw stopped here. This is qaaf by itself, or connected at the end of a word. Meanwhile, this is fa by itself, or connected at the end of the word, or in the middle, and it works as a qaaf in the middle, but the exception would be for the qaaf at the end of the word and when it comes by itself. To start with, we are going to do the fa. Obviously, we are using the 16mm dimension. So we locate our baseline as usual. We locate the point where the letter would start. We add the thickness to our baseline, which is 16, as we talked about, right over here. Now, just like the waw, what we are going to do is leave half the thickness above the baseline, which is 8 in our case. This will be empty. After this half the thickness, we will add the full thickness, which is 16, right over here. After that, we add another half, which will be the eye or the inside gap of the fa or the qaaf at the beginning. And after that, we will add the full thickness again, which is 16. Finally, right over here, we've got a decorative move that we will talk about once we create the shape. Now, the start point is always connected from top to bottom, just like that. Now, we've located the thicknesses in the horizontal direction. For the vertical direction, we are going to leave the full thickness from the right, 16. It will intersect here in this gap. This will be the neck of the fa, and it will intersect for the middle part or the gap inside the letter, which is around here, which is also between the half thicknesses. It started to take shape. Now, after that, we are going to leave half the thickness for the gap inside, which is, as we said, 8 millimeters. And this will be, we will draw it with a compass. After this point, we are going to leave the full thickness again, which will end up right over here. We connect this to this one. So now we've got a shape that looks like this. We've got a small neck here. This is our baseline. This is the beginning of the upper part of the fa, and it ends up right over here. Now this point and this point we connect with a compass, as we discussed in the ba. You put the compass right over here in this part of the middle point, and you connect those two, as you can see. It began to take shape now. For the upper part, just like what we did in the wow letter, we locate the half the thickness upwards, which is 8, right over here. We connect this and we add this curve to it. That would join right over here. Now the base of the fur is 8 times the thickness. So let's do a quick review of what we just did. We took our baseline right over here. We went upwards half the thickness. We added this part. Went upward another half the thickness. This will be our inner part. Another full thickness, and connected those two together. And we added the decorative move right on top. These are very easy to understand and to get. Now for the baseline, it equals 8t, 8 times the thickness, with a decorative move just like the bar right over here. So if we multiplied 8 by 16, it will give us 12 centimeters, 0.8. So we go 12.8 and we mark that point right over here. This will be the end of the fur. Now, right at the end of it, we're going to add the exact same decorative move we've always added. We move to the right, the full thickness, 16, right over here. And we move upward above the upper part of the baseline, half the thickness, which is 8. So on this line, we are going to choose the 8 point and we connect those two together. And again, we connect this to the 8 millimeter equivalent to it to the right. So it will look like this. Let's outline this and see how it will look. As you can see here, this is the letter Fa. You add the dot right over here. Now the Fa is based on a Ba. Meanwhile the Qaaf is based on a Nun. That works for all scripts in Arabic calligraphy. So as we discussed, this would be a connected Fa at the end. It could be a Qaaf or Fa at the beginning, or it could be Qaaf and Fa at the middle. So that's how it works. You just add these exact same moves, but with the exception for the right and left of it. Now for the Qaaf, we are going to lower the shape down a bit. So in the Fa, we had our baseline. We went upwards to the left, upwards to the curve, and the cursive move. In the Qaaf, we are going to use the baseline to be this line, and going upwards from there, and this is how it will look like. We will be lower than the Fa at the end. And finally, we are going to add the end of it right over here. Let's see how that works. We are going to use the same dimensions. We've already got our baseline right over here. So we are just going to take this line all the way, and this one too. By the way, the Fa in the middle will have this full thickness. So if it was connected, for example, and there was a Qaaf here at the end, you will have to leave this huge space to distinguish it from a Qaaf. Let's start the Qaaf from here to make it clearer. So this is Faa and Qaaf, for example. As we said, we leave the full thickness from the right to the left, 16 millimeters, which will be about here. After that, we leave half the thickness, 8 millimeters, which is here. Then we add the full thickness again, which is here. So right now we've got this shape, the one that was here, now it's over here. So we take the lines, upward. You see this one? You connect this to the 8mm equivalent right over here, just like that. And from here, you go up the full thickness. And right over here, you go again half the thickness, right here. Then you add the full thickness again, 16, just right over here. And this will go to the left, the full thickness. Just right over here. And we connect these two to the compass. Just like this. And we add the decorative move right on top. Just like we did here. This is the head of the Qaaf. Now, as we've always discussed, the drop would be 1.5 the thickness. In our case, it will be 2.4. Let's just check that one. 2.4 centimeters. So you will locate that line. 2.4, just right over here. And like what we did in the wow, we're taking this line and rotating all the way around. Take this point and move to the left half the thickness to locate the end of the Qaaf. Now, this point will go all the way around and stop right over here. Meanwhile, this one would follow with a tangent with this line and also stop right over here. For that, as we said before, you should use one of those, one of these, and yeah, let's do the lower one first. Yeah, this could work. Needs to be a bit to the right, so we are going to modify that. Just like that. And up above it, you would use another shape, but yeah, we can have this line to be ours. Let's outline it and see how it would look like. There you go. You've got the Qaaf and the Faa. This one will be by itself or connected. Just keep in mind that it's lower than the Faa at the end. Now I'm going to cut up both of them and we can see it clear how they actually look like. And there you have it. If the Qaaf has connected, you just color this part and you delete this part. Now there's another shape that comes in the middle. Just basically, we are going to take this as our baseline and we are going upwards 0.7 t, and after that we are going to locate the points here and here that measures the full thickness, right over here and here. And from the center line we are going to draw a circle that is far t from this neck, and we are going to make a circle around this shape that will end up looking more like this. So we've got the neck, our baseline, and here we've got the circle. The first shape would look like this. The second one, we take T and T, and we take these cheeks inside. So it will look as if it's squished right over here. So let's do this and see how it will look like in the middle of a word. This is in the middle. You can't use it at the beginning or at the end. We start from our same baseline as usual. We locate the upper part of it. From this part we are moving upward 0.7 the thickness that we've got. So right here it says 11.2 millimeters. We are going to move 11 millimeters. Now let's take this as our center line. You should first locate the right part of it to avoid intersection with any letters, but since we are not working on any words, I will just use the center line as my reference. So we are moving 11 millimeters right over here, and this line would be the end of the neck. Right down here, as we did for the necks, it's always the full thickness. So you take the 1.6 and you go to the right and the left 8 millimeters, or if you were working with the 8 millimeters thickness, it will be 4x4. You raise this all the way to the line that we've just located. Now you've got the neck. To the right and to the left, you are going to move the full thickness just to have an idea about the limits that you are going to work with. It will exceed them, but these just to guide us how the circle would move. Now from the center line we go up, we locate this line so that we can work on both sides. Now as we can see, we located the neck. We are going to leave the full thickness above it, which is 16 millimeters for our case, right over here. This will be the lower edge of the center circle. This circle is half a thickness in diameter, so it will be 8 in our case, right over here. This is the center line of it, so go ahead and draw that. This would be this. It's the same, the gap. On top of it, we will add another full thickness, another 16 millimeters, right over here. On top of that, we are going to add, for the decorative move, the one right here. This dimension is going to be 0.375 T or 0.4. It's up to you. Now when we multiply that by 16, it will give us 6 millimeters. Therefore we are going to move 6 millimeters again, which is right over here. So just a quick recap of what we just did. We got our baseline, we went upwards and located the point that goes 0.7 T. We got our neck right over here. After that we moved upward and located the point that gives us full T. We drew a circle with a center line. After that, the circle is half T, T over 2. After that we left another T right over here. After that, for the decorative move, we added 0.375 T. So right now we can have the shape that would look like this, because we are going to add T right over here, and this will intersect with this one, and after that it will go back. but it will be actually a bit fatter than this. Add it to the other side. So let us continue. We take the center line of the circle we've got here, locate that. From the circle circumference, you take full thickness to the left and full thickness to the right. So this will give us 16 to the left, right over here, and 16 to the right, right over here. Actually, that's perfect. It's on the big lines. So let's get a compass, put it right over here, and draw a circle that will intersect with all these lines. Now, to make it look more beautiful, manually you are going to add some cheeks down here. We don't want it to look like a circle, we want it to look like a nut, a hazelnut. It will look more like this. We want it to look alive, not just a geometric circle. So hazelnuts look like this. Go down, they are a bit thin from the top and they get fatter as they go down. And you get a squirrel that would eat it. So this is the shape that we want to. Now we've drawn a circle that goes like this. So right here, you've got differences that you need to work on. So to the bottom, we take the neck and we move outward. Once we reach this line, we are going inward all the way to the top point. The same thing goes for the other side. As we've always discussed, you should use a transparent paper and copy these sides in order to get a perfect symmetrical shape to it. So we've got the first one right over here. You can, if you want to, add a cheek over here. That would look something like this. Now, I will outline the inside shape, and the outside shape I will try and outline it with a different color. So here we've got the inside shape. The outside shape would just continue in this way. You've got two shapes for the Faa or the Qaaf in the middle. I will color it and show you how the inside shape looks like. As we can see here, I've colored both parts. We've got the left side that looks like this and the right side that is full like this. Now it shouldn't look like this. What you have to do is choose a shape and go for it. So you can either choose this one and copy it to the other side, or choose this one and copy it to the other side. And this way you will have a Faa in the middle. Let's do a quick review of what we've learned today. We've got the letters Faa and Qaaf. We know that Faa is based on a Ba, Qaaf is based on a Noon. Therefore, when we drew them, we had some differences between them. This is our baseline. At the beginning, they both look the same. Something like this. At the middle, we said we can either have them like this, or with the other shape that we've just learned. That looks like this. For the Faa, keep in mind that the whole base should be the space between the Faa and the letter after it. So this could be a Faa, Qaaf, Faa, leave the full thickness right over here. And at the end, we've discussed that the Fa is the same, but the Qaaf, if the Qaaf was connected, it will look like this. You would start it from the baseline right over here. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and do some practices. So far you've learned the majority of the alphabetic scripting in Kufi. We've got the alif, the ba, including the ta and the tha, the connected one that also adds the noon and the ya to it. After that we talked about the ha, kha, jim, and several shapes. We've talked about the dal, the ra, zain, and the waw with several shapes to them. We discussed the sin, the sheen, and the sad, dad, and the ta, ba. Also the class before this one, the lesson before this one, we discussed the ain and the ghain, and today we talked about the fa and the qaaf. So choose words with these ones and write them down and send us assignments so that we can check them and note any notes to you to modify them. This has been Amar Awadi, and see you next time.